If you think all batteries are the same, consider this. It was a beautiful day in the park.
Kevin, can you hand me
that turned to panic in an instant.
According to the U.S. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, every year just under 2 million children go missing in the U.S. and Europe alone.
And everything depended on a brick house child locator.
Kevin!
Know where your kids are with Kids Locator 24/7.
Packed inside every locator is the only battery Brick House trusts, Duracell. So even if you hope you'll never have to use it, it still has to work. Duracell, trusted everywhere.
This is the Amber Alert GPS, and this little pink box is a high-tech GPS monitoring system that can not only help you track your child, but will actually allow you to listen to their environment if there is an emergency.
It was sickening.
That's the feeling the Collins had when their daughter London did not come home from school on time.
You start panicking, you can't think straight. Where is she? Who took her? What was she wearing? Do I need to figure out how to describe it? And it just drives you crazy.
These are trauma memories. We remember them distinctly. They are indelibly etched into our minds.
Collins realized London was carrying a device like this one, a small GPS tracker they bought 2 weeks earlier.
We called and we found her just above, just up the street, just around the corner, the long way home, because that's where her friend lives.
However, how many of us know the lie that was programmed into us at each of those traumas?
2 girls say a man tried to kidnap them while they were walking home from school. KMIR 6 reporter Anthony Alvarez shows us a new device. Its makers claim it can help you keep your children safe.
What would you do if your child was kidnapped? A new product just hit the market. It's about the size of this 9-volt battery. It'll help you find them.
It's hard to imagine not having your kids.
When your kid's gone, what do you do?
Yeah, I don't know what you do. You go crazy worrying about them.
However, the problem is that we don't know the lie that it was attached to each of those traumas.
He says the key is to make sure your child keeps it on.
You can put it on the belt, the pocket, their arm, their leg, around their neck. We'll have a little hair piece to put in their hair. And the good thing about it, moms are creative. They find ways to keep this on.
And the problem is that this mind control is essentially totally undetectable.
What do you think about this product right here? It's about the size of a 9-volt battery. It's called the Spark Nano. It's small enough to fit in your child's pocket undetected. To track, all parents would have to do is log online and look for the blue flag. It's their child's exact location. Other squares represent path of travel. A panic button on the unit sends a text message immediately to your cell phone letting you know your child is in danger. The cost? $2.99 for the unit and an average monthly service fee of $45.
Definitely a good deal, I think, yeah.
Because they're priceless?
Yes, absolutely.
What is still true is that there's still kind of a reptilian side of our brain, right? That part of our brain that if somebody looks different or sounds different, that there's a part of us that is cautious.
But I'm not saying this to instill fear into you, but I'm trying to motivate you out of your complacency. Because after I found out about this horrendous mind control, which is being carried out on such a grand scale, that my life became insignificant compared to the suffering of the millions of victims.
The trouble with tracking sex offenders has put a controversial plan before state lawmakers. Instead of GPS bracelets, convicts would be forced to have a device implanted. Come 4's Luke Ducey looked into whether the new devices will work. Luke?
Mary, the thinking is this. You can track someone on their phone. You can even track your own pet if you want to. So Why not track sex offenders using a tiny radio chip?
Right, and the whole agenda is to create a one-world government where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them.
Just like the microchips implanted in the necks of dogs and cats, allowing lost pets to be identified, this glass capsule can do the same for humans.
To think something so small can connect you to everything that matters.
When your life and all you love are on the line.
HealthLink is always with you when every second counts in the emergency room, providing immediate access to your medical records.
In West Palm Beach, Florida, 100 elderly men and women diagnosed with Alzheimer's are now walking around with microchips embedded under their skin, and more are on the waiting list. Alzheimer's Community Care offers this service for free.
Because Bob has trouble remembering all his medications.
Because I'm in love with my kids' kids.
Because my car lost control while driving.
Because now I'm looking out for both of us.
All money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish.
In fact, it's already here. The latest home security locks use fingerprints to control deadbolts. And at the Jewel Osco grocery store in Chicago, some customers pay using their fingerprints. No paper or plastic.
You don't really need anything other than your hand, and you already got that with you.
And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control.
Your name is Tom. You live just off of 5th Street. Nice car, Tom. Nice house. What's not so nice is you owe Pennsylvania $4,212 in back taxes. Listen, Tom, we can make this easy. Pay online by June 18th, and we'll skip your penalty and take half off your interest. Because, Tom, we do know who you are.
Because I have diabetes, but it doesn't have me.
Because I spend my life in the ER trying to save yours.
And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
everything.
You sell.
Everything is in there.
The tragedy of Tyler Clementi's suicide, from the live streaming of his encounter with another man to his suicide note, unfolded as so much of our lives do now, online.
We're now operating in a kind of free fall. You know, internet gurus say things like, privacy is dead, get over it.
The social networking revolution is happening so fast, people may not have had a chance to catch up with the privacy implications.
There is no boundary, you know, it's the whole world. Sure.
Emily Murphy is a 26-year-old high school English teacher. This was her 4.5 years ago, when CBS News did a story about what was then an addictive new web venture called Facebook.
They try to mark themselves as quirky or witty or fun in ways that I would know just looking at them face to face.
Since we first met Emily Murphy, Facebook has exploded in growth. This past summer, Facebook reached 500 million users. That's 1 out of every 14 people on Earth who now have a Facebook profile. Some projections estimate the number of Facebook users will be 1 billion by next year.
If you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you get there? Where is this nation going?
You know? And so they want a one-world government controlled by them, everybody being chipped, all your money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control people, and you become a slave, you become a serf to these people.
Sometime in the next century, because computer chips are getting smaller and faster, and eventually the time will come when a child is implanted with a little chip back here and will learn to control the chip in the same way that you learn to control your bodily functions and your voice and your movements.
I'll tell you, we are headed toward total mind control. This is a type of mind control which turns the victim into a puppet, a slave. This is a type of mind control which is so horrendous that it dehumanizes a person to be a robot, an expendable piece of machinery that they can throw away.
And this gets into one of the craziest things that might happen is that, you know, the brain is a series of electrical signals, and you can already sort of create chips and implant them in mice that will give them sort of memories and ability to recognize things. And you could conceivably have, you know, you couldn't have an implantable memory that I remember being with you last Tuesday, but you could implant memories of space or texture or things like that. And that's something that people are going to try to do, and it may work, it may not, but so in a way, we'll sort of becoming more robotic a little bit. We'll be, you know, physically and computer enhanced.
Woo! It's gonna.
With astonishing dexterity, a monkey reaches out to grab and turn a handle with a robotic arm controlled not by its hands, but directly by its brain.
Oh, what about the brain and IT? I'm interested in bio-digital worlds. We have not only the capacity, I think, in the future to produce a camera with the resolution of the human eye. By the way, it could be a bio camera.
With the power of thought, it can alter the speed and direction of the arm, twisting the joints to home in on its target. It shows no signs of distress from the wires leading from electrodes in its brain to a computer. The reward for each turn of the handle, a drink of water.
Now I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about the fusion of digital and bio worlds.
Human trials are likely to start next year.
The monkey learns this fairly rapidly and is very comfortable with it. As you can see, as the days go by, they actually start using this as if the device has been embodied. So it almost seems like they think of it as part of their own body.
I'm talking about these brain cells, which you can see here, growing on the surface of a computer chip.
The mind control works through a device implanted directly into the motor cortex, the part of the brain that governs voluntary movement. Electrodes pick up pulses within the millions of neurons and send them to a computer, which deciphers the pattern and strength of the signals to move the robotic arm.
Brain cells are intelligent, and they recognize other intelligence. And brain cells automatically connect to computer chips. They need no teaching, they just do it. All you do is you mix brain cells in water, you float them onto the surface of chips, you sit back and relax and feed them.
This is all that connects the monkey's brain to the robot. A tiny plate just 4 millimeters across, packed with 100 electrodes, each finer than a human hair.
You've been looking at a lot of stuff involving robotics, too, in terms of how that's going to change us.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that our view of robots tends to be impacted by pop culture, but increasingly in the future, you're going to see a lot more examples of robots in places where you'd expect human interaction. On Trend Hunter, we've actually seen more than 1,000 examples of things like robot chefs, robot bartenders, robot nurses, robot hairstylists, and there's even a robot that can perform a biopsy surgery. So it's not just these places where you'll have an interaction, but actually places where robots could save lives.
That scares me a little bit, though. I don't know.